If you are new to the homeschooling journey or you are trying to figure out if you want to homeschool, this video is going to be great for you. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I wish I would have known when I first started the homeschooling journey. Now, let me be very clear. I am not an expert. I am just sharing my experience, but I was a former public school educator. So I am going to be coming from the lens of seeing what school looks like in a classroom setting and seeing what it has looked like in our homeschool setting. And if you are new to this channel, welcome to the family. My name is Chanel. I am a believer, I am a wife, I'm a mama of 4, and I'm also a doula. So you will get a little bit of everything on this channel. I do want to start off by saying I never in a million years imagined that I would be a stay-at-home mom who homeschools her children. I am guilty when I say that I definitely thought that there was this awkwardness, this social awkwardness that came with being a homeschooled kid. I was not homeschooled. I went to public school most of my life. That was the first introduction of me understanding that different school environments do not necessarily dictate what you're going to look like or be like or socialize like. So to give you a little background on our homeschooling journey thus far, we are 2 years in. I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 5-month-old baby. And it is chaos, y'all. It is pure chaos. But I do want to give you like a timeline of how we got here. When my son was born, he was in a daycare about 8 to 6 every single day, which is really difficult for me because I wanted to spend so much time with him. And so I was able and fortunate enough to be able to start working from home part-time because I didn't feel like he was getting the kind of education or challenging, environment that I wanted him to have at that time. Looking back on it now, I'm like, girl, as long as the baby was being loved on and read to, he was fine. But at the time, I felt in my heart like I needed more for him and I wanted more for him and I wanted to just spend more time with him. Fast forward to the pandemic. I was laid off at that time. And I really felt the Lord was like calling me and preparing me for this journey of being a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling. I wanted to really like further his knowledge and education on and really just like cultivate an interest for learning. So we started that at that point, and then now we are here. With that being said, let's jump into the 5 things that I wish that I would have known in this whole journey before I got started in homeschooling. Number 1, the first thing that I wish I would have known before starting to homeschool is that everybody's homeschool looks different. There's so many people online, including this video that you may watch, that will tell you exactly how each family is homeschooling, which curriculum they're following, what their schedule looks like, their routines. And I think that it is great to watch those sorts of videos. However, what I wish that I would have known is that there is not one way to homeschool. And maybe you already know that. But for me, I think logically I knew that, but I was pressured when I would compare myself and our homeschool journey and our homeschool day and our homeschool routine to these other families and other moms who I felt like had it all together and were like doing the thing and they were the expert in homeschool. And so I would constantly and still honestly feel constantly challenged to change and adjust and modify my homeschool to look more like theirs. And I had an epiphany actually a couple of days ago when I was talking to a mom about her homeschool day. And I was like, okay, I love what you're doing. That's amazing. And I felt myself feeling pressure to start changing things again. And not only is that a disservice to myself and not trusting myself and what I know is best for my children, it's also a disservice to my kids because thinking that you have to look exactly like the rest of the homeschool moms out here is actually not trusting yourself with the kids that God has blessed you with. And once I came to that realization, which again, we're 2 years in, and that has been a very recent realization for me, I have been able to have more freedom in doing what feels best for us right now. Next year, that may change. What we do may change. How we do it may change. When we do it may change. But right now, what's working for us is working for us. And sometimes I think we can get bought in or caught up in this idea that like this curriculum is the best one. I need to follow this if my kid is going to be advanced. And if they're not reading by this age and they're not ahead and I'm doing a bad job as a mom, like, nah, bruh, nah. Having been a public school teacher, I had high schoolers who could not add. I had high schoolers who could not read. So if you're worried that your 7 or 8-year-old is not reading yet because your friend's 4-year-old is reading yet, or you even see some of the things that I post where like reading was very important to us very early on, and you feel like you're behind because your kid is not where somebody else's kid is, don't compare. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it will cause you to not enjoy this experience. And take it from somebody who has been there. It will make you feel like you're on this hamster wheel, and there's no point of doing that, because then your kid doesn't get to enjoy learning. So if you can take anything away from this point, number one, it is that find what works best for you, find the rhythm that works best for you. And the reality is there's so much stuff and opportunity to learn in different ways that your kid may need that this other kid didn't. And your kid may find something and grab onto something, or really just like invest themselves in a place, in an area that mom is like, oh my gosh, this kid is like playing piano and they're playing all these songs and my kid can't even pick up a harmonica. Like, don't compare it, because you never know what that family's actually doing. You never know what their priorities are. And also, it really doesn't allow your kid to have a cultivation and an excitement for learning if you're trying to pressure them to be competitive with the next kid. You have 18 years to get it figured out. If they don't read until they're 12, nobody's gonna know except for you. Nobody's testing them, nobody's quizzing them, and nobody's evaluating them but you. So do you and do what works best for your family. The second thing that I wish I would have known before starting to homeschool is that there is so much curriculum. There's so much curriculum, and all of the curriculum is great in its own way. And I have gone down the rabbit hole of researching to know what curriculum is best. And I've Googled that so many times, I've YouTubed it so many times, and the curriculum that is best is the curriculum that works for you and for your kids. We're in a homeschool season where we don't have and desire to have a 3-hour work cycle. I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to do it. And if I don't want to do it, they're not going to want to do it. And they're probably not going to want to do it either, which is going to make me not want to do it. Our homeschool day is probably an hour to an hour and a half of like work time. And that is it. And then we get to do other things and like learn how to do other practical life things. There are curriculums out there. There's classical conversations. There's the good and the beautiful. Like, don't let these Reddit threads pressure you and think like because you're doing the good and the beautiful, or because you're doing this one curriculum, like that it's trash. Because I just went to a homeschool conference who tried to trash the good and the beautiful, and I was like, sis, this is working for us, so goodbye. You do not have to succumb or acclimate to what everybody else is doing, because that curriculum might not work for you. You might not be able to teach that curriculum, and it may not feel natural for your family. There's things about certain curriculums that as a Black mom do not fit with my family, and that's okay. And I have to give myself permission for that to be okay. And I haven't done that up until this point, and I'm learning that it is okay. We can take little bits and pieces. We have Montessori aspects in our curriculum, and we don't have a full Montessori homeschool. Like, there's different things that you can take and piece the puzzle together for what works best for you. The reality is our kids don't have to know every single thing that we were taught from K through 12, because y'all know you didn't remember it. You know, if somebody asked you what was on the periodic table, that you wouldn't know it. And you probably haven't had to use it unless you're in that field. So don't feel like it has to emulate all the things that you learned or what somebody else is learning, because learning is life and life is learning. And if you can teach that way, you probably don't even need a curriculum to begin with. And on that note, the third thing that I wish that I would have known before becoming a homeschooling family and mom is that it doesn't have to take a long time. We are so used to trying to emulate school in our homes, especially for me. That was how I started off, because I was a public school teacher. I was trying to make school come into my home instead of allowing my home to be the school. And that really paralyzed me. It didn't make it fun. It made it very structured. And I do believe that structure is essential. Structure is absolutely essential in this process, because kids need structure. What they don't need though is rigidness. And I still am working on this. So like, I'm also talking to myself here, but it doesn't have to take that long. I used to think like, oh my gosh, we're done in an hour. Like, we should probably be doing more. No, you shouldn't. Play is learning. There's so much opportunity to learn through play. So if you can find ways to make it fun, learning doesn't even have to like be a sit down situation for, you know, a very long time. And being okay with understanding like you can get through your lessons in 30 minutes if you have one kid. If you have multiple kids, maybe it's going to take a longer period of time. But like, it doesn't have to look like an 8-hour school day, because you know and I know that we were not learning for 8 hours straight. The bulk of the learning that was happening in the high school or even middle school 8-hour day, you might have been doing 3 to 4 hours of work a day, because you have lunch, you have recess, you have transitions, you have quiet down, attendance, all the kinds of things. And that doesn't have to happen in homeschool, because that's not really what made us successful in the world. Knowing how to apply the knowledge is what made us successful in the world. And knowing how to communicate made us successful in the world. So understand that like the timing is an abstract concept, and it doesn't actually have to emulate what school looks like in your home. The fourth thing that I wish that I would have known before starting homeschool is that your homeschool doesn't have to look like a school. Okay? As a public school teacher, I saw so many of my kids like light up when we were doing something like off the record or like off script from our normal like daily math lessons. And so one of the things that I did when I was teaching high school was I was like, okay, y'all are about to go out into the world. I need you to at least understand, if you don't know how to graph X and Y, like I need you to at least understand financial literacy. And so we took like a couple of days and I just helped them fully understand how much it costs to be an adult, how they have to go about actually like providing for themselves. And it was so fun and real for them and for me. And it was like the first time like our classroom didn't really look like a classroom, if you will. And so I'm sharing all that to say, I really encourage you, if you are homeschooling, and this doesn't have to work for every family, right? But like trying to make your homeschool look like school in the home is almost defeating the purpose for some of us of why we're doing this to begin with. You need to use life as the classroom. Go outside and understand and learn the different trees and the different leaves and the different clouds and be able to see those things. One of the things that we're going to start doing with our kids is like helping them learn how to be good stewards of their money. And they're only 6 and 5 at this point. And they probably wouldn't be learning that stuff in elementary school yet. I'm also teaching them scripture, also teaching them how to be a good person, also teaching them like how to garden and all those things. And there's some probably programs out there at schools that do allow for these sorts of things to be a part of the curriculum. But at the same time, I want to be a part of that journey. I want to be a part of that experience, and having my kids sitting down at a desk, to me as a former educator, almost kind of like limits some of their creativity if it has to be so structured and rigid. Yes, there are assessments. Yes, there are tests and things that can help you understand and evaluate if your kid is on track or what areas they need to grow in. And those things are not bad things. However, they shouldn't be the only thing, in my opinion. And I wish that somebody would have told me like, hey, Chanel, just because like your kids are not looking like they would if they were in a classroom setting doesn't mean they're not learning. And I have really started to implement things like read alouds to help my kids learn, because as much as I'm like, so indoctrinated to teaching in a particular way, I have seen that just simply reading aloud to my kids has helped them learn history lessons. We have read about Harriet Tubman through a book. We have read about different people in history through books. Misty Copeland. We've read like a biography of each of these people, and my kids can tell you the stories of their lives rather than me having to like put up a video or put up a PowerPoint and like, this person was born in this time and this is when they moved and this is how long they did it. Like, that's boring. But teaching them and seeing how they light up through stories has really made a big difference, and also something that like I probably wouldn't have done necessarily as a teacher. And how I'm teaching my kids math is totally different than how I taught my kids math in a classroom setting, and it's been very freeing for me. Okay, y'all, the fifth and final thing that I wish that I would have known before starting this homeschool journey, and probably the biggest misconception that people have, is that my kids actually became more social once they left their school environments. Now, of course, I've only had a few kids in like school, if you will, but my oldest had some social challenges. He was very quiet in his environment. He was very nervous, had a lot of anxiety, and I was really concerned if we were going to go backwards when we brought him home. And what I saw was that he actually started to flourish. Now, granted, we did still, up until this past year, we did have our kids in a part-time program where they were going somewhere 2 days a week. And so they still had that social interaction around other kids in that environment. However, I have seen that the more time that we spend together, the more safe he feels and the better socializing he's actually done with other kids. And I had to also like challenge my own thoughts in thinking that homeschool kids were socially awkward, and they're actually not. I think homeschool kids, now that I've been around more of them, tend to be more social and more confident in social interactions, especially with other adults and other kids, than kids who go to school. Now, of course, that is like a kid by kid thing. I'm not making a blanket statement about that. But for my kids, I've seen them actually become more social and less afraid to go up to a kid and be like, hey, do you want to play with me? And like that is really amazing for me to see, because we have done so much to help our kids' anxiety and social anxiety. Going to like play therapy even, and those things were really, really helpful and crucial for him. However, I am seeing now, and now we are like full-time homeschool. We don't even go anywhere 2 days a week. We go somewhere as a family to a co-op once a week, and we have like kid activities and stuff that we're involved in. But my kid who actually had the like social challenges in terms of like really just talking, his teachers at school would tell us that he was like quiet all day long, and he like would talk to his friends a little bit, but not anywhere near how he was at home. And now I'm seeing him thrive and flourish and have conversations and go up to people and order at a counter by himself and want to do these things independently. And yes, that could be a part of him getting older, but I also really believe that him having this safe environment to really learn and grow and not have to do all these things by himself at this early young age has really helped him build confidence in himself and social skills, and learn how to talk to people and how to interact with people in a way that is kind, loving, friendly, and appropriate. My kids are so confident. If they see kids in the neighborhood, they will go up to them like, Mom, can we go ask them if they want to play? And I have to realize for myself as an adult, like, I am still shy in the sense that I probably wouldn't go up to somebody as an adult and be like, hey, like, you want to talk? I'm usually not the first person to like start the conversation. I might say hi, but usually somebody else is more social than me is starting a conversation with me, because I still have my own fears of like social interactions. But my kids don't have that. And I went to public school and private schools, and they don't have those issues. So there is, proof in the pudding that homeschool kids are not socially awkward, and like these environments may actually help cultivate their social skills in much easier and quicker ways than being in a school setting. I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that it encourages you and gives you some freedom in your own homeschooling journey as you're thinking about it. If you want me to do other videos on curriculum, on our, kind of our daily schedule, I've done some vlogs. And I will continue to do some vlogs if those are helpful for you. But let me know in the comments what questions you have, what other videos you want me to make about homeschool. I will start a whole series on homeschool for you guys if that's something that you're interested in. Or even if you are homeschooling right now, what things do you wish that you would have known? Let those be dropped in the comments down below so that people who are thinking about this journey can learn, not just from me, but from you as well. Thank y'all for watching this video. I will see you on the next one. Bye.